Hello and welcome to everyone who is coming together through this professional learning opportunity to learn together about culturally responsive PBIS. We're going to take some time through this Schoology group to dive into what it means to implement PBIS in a culturally responsive manner. So we're excited to come together and really interact with each other and share our learning together. This learning is divided into 4 parts, so you'll notice them in segments of 4 videos that will help us to break down some of the components within culturally responsive PBIS. We always want to frame our conversation within our strategic framework, and not sure if you all have seen this as of yet, but we have a draft version of the Compass to 2025 strategic framework that is being finalized and will shortly be shared division-wide and with the community as well. PBIS is framed within Goal 2 here, and so want to highlight that and make sure we understand where we are in terms of meeting that goal of student well-being. Want to focus also in on the specific goal, creating an inclusive learning environment that supports the physical and mental health of all students and strengthens the social emotional skills they need to become balanced, resilient learners who are personally and socially responsible. Also want to bring out focus to the equity emphasis, and this is important to acknowledge. This is a part of our goal, and it's embedded within every goal within the strategic framework. For Goal 2, the equity emphasis is to engage in culturally responsive practices division-wide, identifying and addressing inequities in discipline practices by investigating and implementing best practices and seeking innovative solutions. So our work in this learning together is directly tied to this goal as well as the equity emphasis embedded within the goal. We want to start just reflecting on a specific quote that is shared within the Cultural Responsiveness Field Guide, which this learning is based on. And so the goal reads, building responsive environments requires an understanding of how our school systems have been established, how well they support students from varying cultures, and how they can be changed to ensure the support and validation of each student. And so as you noticed, there are about 20 discussion questions in this learning that we are engaging in together. The first discussion question raises this: what phrase or word stands out for you? In that prior quote that we just shared on the previous slide, think about what phrase or word stands out, resonates with you, and we would like you to share the reason for your choice in this discussion question number 1. All right, as we move forward and think about why we're having this conversation around cultural responsiveness, we want to talk about equity. We know that this is a word we talk about quite often, don't always stop to think about what it means. So I want to share a graphic that can help us think about this concept of equity. And this is a graphic that's been shared to kind of describe it. There have been many metaphors and graphics that describe it, and feel free to share any you have seen. We start with inequality that usually addresses unequal access to opportunities. Then there is equality, where we think about how can we evenly distribute tools and assistance. And then there's the concept of equity, where we produce custom tools that can identify and address this inequality. But then there is the concept of justice, and justice addresses fixing the system to offer equal access to both tools and opportunities. So actually addressing the system to which we're trying to provide these tools for that equal access. And so we want to think about that as we move forward with culturally responsive PBIS. How can we think about how we're adjusting our systems to address some of these inequalities that we see, or how we can address behavior in general and support for students as well as staff? So we're starting with a video that was shared on PBIS.org, and it's titled Enhancing Equity of PBIS Through Cultural Responsiveness. And the facilitator is Kent McIntosh, the presenter, and he is pivotal in the work of PBIS and does often guide a lot of the information that's on PBIS.org and some of the information provided through the different offices across the states, across our nation, and especially within Virginia Tiered Systems of Support in Virginia that supports us here in Virginia Beach. So I want to give you an opportunity to watch this video. It is an hour, so feel free to browse through it, watch certain parts. You can move through it as you'd like, but it provides a good primer on the background around culturally responsive PBIS implementation. And so as we move to the second discussion question within this Schoology group, we'd like to think about our reflection on this video. So after watching the video, Enhancing Equity of PBIS Through Cultural Responsiveness, what resonates with you? Or what questions do you still have? So share together in the second discussion question thread what might have stood out for you in that video. Okay, let's look at the learning objectives for this particular learning. We want to define what culturally responsive PBIS is within our framework. We want to identify those key components. So we're going to learn about those 5 components of culturally responsive Tier 1 PBIS. We're also going to talk about alignment. So we'll understand how each of those Tier 1 TFI features aligns with those 5 components of culturally responsive PBIS. If you remember in our training that we have provided around Tier 1 PBIS that was offered through 3 days of training for all PBIS teams, we went through all of the Tier 1 TFI features. There are 15. They also guide how we evaluate PBIS implementation. As you remember, there are those 15 features. And so you all are familiar with this, but we are going to be talking about culturally responsive PBIS as it aligns with those features. And then we'll talk about next steps and reflect together actually about next steps. How do we plan for future PBIS teamwork to support culturally responsive PBIS implementation? All of the information in this learning here is provided in the PBIS Cultural Responsiveness Field Guide. So you can probably have this handy. It'll be helpful to look through that and look at some of the detail in that guide that can really expand the learning that we're engaging in together. I did not include everything that's in this guide in this presentation. I wanted to streamline it and simplify it so that it can be easy for us to process and talk through. But feel free to have it handy so that you can look at some of the detail in this guide. Might also be helpful to have the Tier 1 TFI in front of you and just look through those TFI features just to remind yourself of what is a part of the foundation of Tier 1 PBIS as we go through this learning together. The primary goal of cultural responsiveness within a PBIS framework is to use these PBIS principles to change school cultures and systems to enhance equity. And we know that because contextual fit is a core principle of PBIS, we understand that PBIS is not fully implemented unless it's culturally responsive. And that's an important key point to remember. So the definition of culturally responsive PBIS as provided in the guide is really spoken about in these 3 points here. Holding high expectations for all students, using students' cultures and experiences to enhance their learning, and providing all students with access to effective instruction and adequate resources for learning. And so in our third discussion question, let's learn together and respond to this question. Were these 3 goals that we shared on the previous slide achieved for you during your K through 12 educational experience? All right, so let's look at the goal here within culturally responsive PBIS. It is composed of 5 core components. So let's look at those core components: identity, voice, supportive environment, situational appropriateness, and data for equity. And so these are the 5 components we need to keep in mind as we're thinking about how to be culturally responsive as we're implementing PBIS. Okay, so let's look at the first one. The first one is identity. And so it acknowledges that to make systems more culturally responsive, we need an awareness and understanding of our own personal cultures and values, as well as the cultures and values and how these cultures and values that we have impact our classroom and school environments. We understand that the projection of personal cultures and values onto our learning environments can either engage or disengage students, as well as families that are served by our school. We know that to increase engagement, our school staff, we must actively seek out not only to understand our own cultural identities, but also understanding and validating the values of our students, families, and all of our communities that we serve. And this might sound familiar. You remember this was shared in the video earlier by Kent McIntosh. He talks about looking at elements of culture. And these remind you a little bit of our expectations we tend to have in our matrices, right? In our school-wide matrix. Looking at maybe personal space. What does voice level mean? What does dress mean? What does response to insults mean? And so he provides this grid here where you think about your values growing up, your values now, what your school values, how your students and families might be different, and how this difference may create conflict. And this is a great reflection that can help us develop a really responsive school-wide matrix. So we want to engage together as a PBIS team around this one specific row here, looking at appropriate response to insults. So we want to take time to reflect on that row and complete it in our next discussion question. So in this next fourth discussion question, in thinking about appropriate response to insults, let's answer those 5 questions across that row in the grid. All right, let's look at that second component, voice. This means that authentic family or community engagement would include, providing family, students, and community members with meaningful opportunities to be heard and voice their opinions, as well as exercise leadership within our school systems. Students and families then have the opportunity to see themselves, their cultural values, and their histories within the school setting. So in this next discussion question, let's answer these 2 questions together. Was this your family's experience at your elementary school growing up? And in your experience as an educator, when have you observed families being offered meaningful opportunities to be heard, voice their opinions, or exercise leadership within the school system? So let's see what we think about these 2 questions. Let's look at supportive environment. We know that it's about meeting student needs, teaching students necessary or missing skills, as opposed to assuming that they already know them. We know that our school expectations exist as a framework to teach desired behaviors, as opposed to just delivering infractions based on those expectations. We know that our acknowledgement system is intended as a tool to encourage learning and the generalization of the desired behaviors. However, when behavior errors occur, we understand that we need to teach these desired behaviors or review them or discuss them with students. And we know that in a supportive environment, students feel valued. So let's think in our next discussion question, how can we prepare staff for the understanding that the school-wide matrix is used as a framework to teach desired behavior to fluency, as opposed to a system through which infractions are delivered?